Hey everybody, and welcome to this special on the super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces that happens on the 29th of March 2025 at 10:48 AM GMT. So it's like a regular new moon, cooler, more relaxed and popular cousin, an intense cousin actually. And it happens when the moon is at its closest point to the earth, which is also called perigee in astrology. So it's closer to us than usual, the new moon, making its gravitational pull stronger, but we still can't see it because after all it's still the new moon and we don't see the moon when it's new, right? But we can definitely feel its effects. It happens a few times a year, so this makes it rarer and more special than like our average new moon. So think of it as the universe turning up the volume and all those moon vibes, and it's like an astrological energy drink when you least expect it, right? So the supermoon is like hitting the turbo button on new beginnings. Think of booster cars in maybe movies like The Fast and the Furious, right? So it can increase our manifestation power. Our intentions and wishes have extra sort of like power. Pistons. I'm trying to think of car analogies, but behind them. So we can feel a stronger need for change, and we might feel a more intense desire to shake things up in our life, and increased in our heightened intuition, and our inner voices can be a loudspeaker. So listen up. It's a perfect time to set those big really audacious crazy wild goals that you've been too scared to voice to yourself. And we can use this energy because the universe is listening to us. It's all ears and ready to help us make that magic happen. So I'm going to talk more about the spiritual meanings now. So it's like a VIP pass to our inner world, the supermoon energy. It allows us to connect more deeper with our higher self, release old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve us, and align more closely with our soul's purpose. It is our chance to do some serious spiritual spring cleaning, being out with the old vibes and in with the new, that sort of thing. And it's like a power wash for our souls. On the esoteric levels, it's about finding a secret level in our favorite video game, and really focus on what's hidden beneath the surface. It can give us increased psychic abilities, intuitive or deductive reasoning, logical abilities. Our third higher consciousness might be working overtime, so pay attention to any flashes of insight that comes through conversation, dreams, visions, daydreaming. It's sort of like a karmic fast tracking energy, so we may notice like a speed up in us wanting to deal with the things that are causing issue in our life, because karmic patterns come to our attention, and this energy allows us to rapidly heal and release them. So this is a really good energy. It acts as a sort of dimensional doorway, a portal to other realms and dimensions of consciousness if you work with this energy, right? Because we must always work with these astrological vibrations to use them, tap into them. Obviously on the mundane level, everyday level, the energies affect us, but by practically applying them we can make the best of them, right? So it's a chance to dig deep into psychic abilities and mystical practices and stuff like that. The best use of this energy, as I said, is to set supercharged intentions, write them down, your biggest dreams and goals, and as long as you're willing to work daily towards them. Consistency is the key. Meditate or do energy work or any other spiritual practices or anything that makes you feel good, whether it's screaming, dancing, singing, gaming, whatever, because we all work in different ways, we all meditate in different ways, right? Breathwork meditation will be really good now. Pay attention to your dreams as it can be more vivid and meaningful, and just trust your gut, because our intuition can be our friend during the super super new moon. See it as a sort of booster shot for your personal growth and spiritual evolution. It's a time to shine, even in the dark, even if you're going through turmoil, and the darkness, because, there's no moon, we don't see it right. So work with this energy, trust the process, and get ready for some major transformational vibes if you're willing to work with this energy. And remember, the universe has got your back, and so has the planetary energies. So the energetic frequency of this eclipse is transformative, intuitive, and healing. Those are the key words. It happens when the moon is in the 15th degrees of Pisces. The peak of this event is at 10:58 a.m. when it enters the super new moon solar eclipse phase. There's a conjunction with Mercury and Neptune that are within an 8-degree orb, and the Sabian degree symbol is an officer preparing to drill his men. So first I'm just going to do a quick astrological breakdown of what this solar new moon eclipse wants us to focus on. Then I'm going to talk about the type of eclipse it is, then go more in depth, do an analysis of the Sabian degrees, the aspects, and all of that good stuff. So, as I said, on the 29th of March, we're diving deep into the Piscean waters. It's like the universe is hitting a reset and refresh button on our spiritual hard drive. It's acting like an astrological Spotify, turning up the volume on all these spiritual vibes when the moon enters its supernoon phase at 10:58, and Mercury and Neptune are joining the party because they're closely conjunct at 8 degrees. There's other planets that are like 10 degrees and 11 degrees away, but yeah. So Pisces energy is all about diving deep into our subconscious, connecting with our intuition and psychic abilities, or our deductive reasoning, logical abilities, and dissolving the boundaries between ourselves and the universe, and between the different aspects of the different parts of ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, our light and our shadow, and Neptune and Mercury in the midst are telling us that the veil between the words is thin, to trust our gut feelings but to stay grounded in reality. So the best use of this super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces is to heal old wounds and release past traumas related to our communication skills, our self-image, plus the ways we may have destroyed ourselves through toxic thoughts, behaviours and ways of relating to ourselves and others. It's inviting us to tap into our inner mystic and explore the spiritual realms, be open and work with compassion and empathy for ourselves and others, and our communication can get a real spiritual upgrade. We may find ourselves expressing ideas in a more intuitive and creative way, and Chiron's healing touch. Old wounds may surface, but remember, it's for healing and transformation, not for us to, get down on ourselves and, fall into shame and guilt, although they may come, right? But we just have to be gentle with ourselves as we work with our insecurities and vulnerabilities. And with the North Node nearby, it's 12 degrees from the moon. It brings a sense of spiritual destiny. It wants us to pay attention to synchronicities and coincidences, as there are cosmic signposts, and the Sabian symbol of an officer preparing to drill his men is giving us major spiritual boot camp vibes. So it reminds us that it's time to get disciplined about our spiritual practice, but not only that, about the ways we look after our emotional and psychological health, because these are the foundation for our day-to-day life, right? It wants us to prepare for a higher calling or mission, and to align our actions with our soul's purpose as well. So that's the summary version. Now I'm going to talk about what a partial solar eclipse is, because this is is what it is this year, and then I'm going to go in depth more about the specifics of this super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces. So yeah, so what's a partial solar eclipse? So imagine the moon is photobombing the sun's selfie, but not quite nailing the post. That's basically what a partial solar eclipse is. The moon moves and slides between the earth and the sun, but doesn't fully cover the sun's face, and from the earth we see a chunk of the sun disappear behind the moon, like someone took a bite out of a celestial cookie, and then we get a light soul. The sky might dim a bit, but it won't go full dark mode like in a total eclipse. So the astrological significance of a partial eclipse is, like, as I said, the universe is hitting the refresh button on our life, wanting us to be open to new beginnings, starting things afresh, even old projects, thinking about what old habits we're ready to ditch, get rid of. It may reveal things to us, because it brings a shadow, right? It dims the light, so things that were in the shadows, so secrets and all of that, may come to light. So are there any secrets you've been keeping from yourself? Like, you may not want to be living the life you're living right now. You may want to end a career, a relationship, or a lifestyle. We may feel a shift of energy. We may feel out of balance, off kilter, but in a good way. It's like the cosmos is giving us a gentle nudge towards change. In terms of, the spiritual meaning, we're getting sort of like a chance to have a soul level glow up, a higher consciousness level up. It serves up some major growth opportunities. It wants us to, really focus on inner reflection. It's an invitation to look inward. What parts of yourself have you been ignoring once again? It wants us to check our balance. The partial covering of the sun by the moon symbolises the dance between our conscious and subconscious mind. Are they in sync? Often they're not, right? Consciously, we often say we're living one life, we want to be one person, but subconsciously our unresolved trauma stops us from being who we want to be, So this energy wants us to get real, write down what we need to change, and work through the list steadily. Slow and steady wins the race, right? And consistency is the key. It's a transformation motivator catalyst, It kicks off some serious personal evolution, and the only question you have to ask is, what butterfly are you ready to become, and are you ready to rise from your own ashes? So how to ride eclipse energies? Set intentions. What do you want to manifest in the coming months? Because this energy lasts us right up into the next solar eclipse, right? In 6 months. It wants us to meditate, tune into your inner wisdom. The universe may be trying to tell you something, maybe do a release ceremony, write down what you're ready to let go of and safely burn the paper. But remember, it's going to take time. The slow daily steps is the way to go. Energy cleanse, sage a space or take a salt bath, or clear any stagnant vibes, in the ways that, resonate with you. For some of you it's screaming, for some of you it's a bath, some of you it's a shower, others it's a dip in the ocean, some of you it's just walking barefoot, So ultimately, a partial solar eclipse is a cosmic nudge, not a full-on push. It's a gentle reminder that change is constant and growth is always possible, no matter what, and I believe in that. So yeah, that's the end of what a partial solar eclipse is in astrology. So yeah. So now I'm going to talk more in depth about the super moon lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 29th of March. So again, as I said, it's a time when we can experience spiritual awakening. This eclipse is like an astrological alarm clock for our soul. We can experience the increase in our intuition and psychic abilities, a deeper connection to our inner wisdom. We can have vivid dreams and visions. We can experience more creative inspiration. because Mercury and Neptune are in the midst, so we can have a wellspring of imagination, creative and artistic breakthroughs. We can become more innovative in problem solving, and it can increase our ability to express and understand abstract ideas, subtle meanings and body language and stuff like that. It gives us healing opportunities. Chiron's influence here, because Chiron's 13 degrees away from the moon and it's in Pisces as well. So yeah, it's given us the chance to release old traumas and wounds on a psychological, spiritual and emotional level, and to manage our physical ailments much more in a balanced way. It increases our empathy and compassion. It gives us the ability to turn pain into wisdom. It allows us to step up and be visionary in our lives, It wants us to, and it supports us to, be more of a spiritual leader and get clarity about our life's mission and highest potential. It's an inspiration that can help us not only guide and uplift ourselves but others as well. It gives us the ability to organise and direct spiritual energies if you're willing to work with this energy, and especially if you've got a lot of 12th house, 9th house, Neptune, Sagittarius, Jupiter, Pisces aspects in your chart, or aspects, strong with Chiron, the North Node, the Moon, the Sun, Neptune and Mercury, as well as Venus, So it gives us a chance to, really have hope and faith in ourselves. But in terms of the negatives, we can just be emotionally overwhelmed right now because, we've got a lot of planets in Pisces, right? We've got 6 planets, right? 2 luminaries, the Sun and the Moon, then 4 planets, right? And then we've got Chiron there, the asteroid as well. So a lot of Pisces energy. So we can feel lost and confused. We can find it hard to tell the difference between reality and fantasy. We can escape through unhealthy means as well. And we can always run into our intoxicating substances, drugs, alcohol. We can use them excessively. We can also, indulge in intoxicating and toxic hookups and stuff like that, and anything else that distracts us from what we really need to be doing, which is getting in tune with ourselves, right? We can have boundary issues. Neptune's influence brings the potential for deception of ourselves and others. We may be like, I'm healed, I've got nothing to work through, but, there's always something to work through, right? We can have a difficulty saying no or setting limits, and we can have trouble because we can absorb other people's emotions too easily, and really, find it hard to tell between what's our feelings and others, and get really caught up in others' toxicity. Yes, help others, but don't let them drain you. We can also get stuck in perfectionist paralysis. The officer drilling his men can trigger harsh self-criticism and criticism of others. We can have a fear of not measuring up to spiritual ideals. Be gentle with yourself. It takes time, right? We can be rigid, inflexible in our spiritual practice. And remember, we have to be flexible because, spiritual growth is about 1 minute or, for a period of time being heavily engaged in one spiritual practice. Like you may need tarot at one stage, but then sometimes we have to leave that tool behind to move on to another tool, and keeping the main focus and say a tool like tarot crystals can stop you from leveling up and upgrading and moving on with your spiritual practice. So the best use of this energy is to set intentions, write down your spiritual and creative goals, create a vision board for your ideal life, meditate on your soul's higher consciousness purpose, establish a spiritual routine, create a daily meditation or prayer practice, start a dream journal, commit to regular energy cleansing rituals, dig into creative projects and let your imagination run wild, start that novel, painting or music project, explore new forms of creative or artistic expression, and collaborate with other creatives, and thus practice compassionate self-discipline, because we don't need to be all, harsh on on ourselves, We just have to balance structure with flexibility and having fun, and to avoid burnout in our spiritual practice and in our life, Set gentle but firm boundaries in relationships and treat yourself with kindness while working towards your goals, Maybe engage in some energy healing work, try healing modalities, techniques like Reiki, sound baths, emotional freedom technique, or any other healing. Explore past life regression or hypnotherapy. Practice forgiveness rituals for yourself and others. And remember, this eclipse is like a boot camp for our souls, right? It's challenging us to step up, face our inner world, our demons, and get real about what we really want from our lives, and prepare for a higher mission, and be open and work with the Piscean waters of intuition, creativity, but don't forget to keep one foot at least on solid ground, stay grounded, be honest, and get real with yourself, So now I'm gonna just talk a bit more about the 15th degree of Pisces, where the moon's at. So, as I said, an officer preparing to join his men, his people, right, may sound a bit intense, but it's actually a powerful metaphor for taking charge of your spiritual growth, preparing for challenges and opportunities ahead, because life will always bring the challenges and opportunities. The only certainty in life being changed after all. It wants us to align our inner troops, our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, align our subconscious mind with our conscious mind, so we work as one whole complete self, and get in touch with our higher self. So aligning our thoughts, emotions, actions, subconscious and conscious minds with our higher self. It's telling us that it's time to get organized, to focus on our spiritual goals, to develop a consistent spiritual practice or routine, to be ready to step into a leadership role in your community or spiritual circle. So the practical actions for us to take during this eclipse is, as I said, start a meditation practice, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. This is the perfect time to quiet your mind and tune into your intuition, and just try and practice being more mindful, watching the mind, not in an excessive paranoid way, but to just see what's actually going on in there, to get creative and let your imagination run wild. Create a vision board, declutter your space, clear out your physical stuff and your mental stuff to make room for new energy. Think of it as a spiritual spring clean. Keep a dream journal, as I said. Practice acts of kindness to yourself and others. Build on your compassion, and take a social media detox, or a detox from anything you do excessively that is detrimental to your overall well-being and health. So in terms of the financial meanings, right, it wants us to create a budget and a financial plan, and to get disciplined about our finances. With Neptune in the midst, we have to be cautious of get rich schemes and unclear financial decisions and overspending right now, because all this Pisces energy can make us want to run, right, and overindulge. So we have to double check that fine print, and if you can't manage your money right now, maybe seek out advice of someone who's more stable right now. But just be careful as you go on over this year and stuff. Chiron's influence can bring up old wounds related to money, our concept of money, what we believe about money, So it's a good time to heal your relationship with wealth and abundance, and consider investing in spiritual creative plans, as they may pay off in unexpected ways in the long term, because it's not about short-term gain, it's about long-term investment, right? So in terms of the social and collective meanings, it can increase our empathy and compassion. We may see a rise in charitable actions and social movements focused on helping others. We can blur our boundaries, so expect discussions about global interconnectedness and the dissolution of artificial divides between people, because we're all human, right, regardless of our culture, sexual expression, nations and all of the other things we allow to divide us, or we've been programmed to divide us, there can be a sort of spiritual awakening on a mass scale, and an increase in interest in meditation, yoga and other spiritual practices. We can all be focused on creative solutions to global problems. The Piscean energy can inspire innovative approaches to long-standing issues. There can be a shift in work culture. The officer drilling his men symbolises a move towards more structured, routine, yet spiritually aligned work environments. On the personal, individual level, it gives us, the chance to reset, as I said, ditch old habits that are holding us back, set intentions that align with your deepest dreams. It wants us to get real about what it's going to take, what lifestyle changes, what bedtime routines, eating routines, and all of that we have to do, looking at the smaller details as well as the bigger picture of, making your life how you want it to be. Be open and work with new opportunities that come your way. Our intuitions can be on steroids now with Pisces energy in full force. Our gut feelings are about to get a major boost. Trust those hunches, those inner gut feelings, and I know when we suffer from anxiety, stress and depression and other mental illnesses, it can be hard, so just do your best. Expect a surge of inspiration, whether you're into art, music or just daydreaming. Our imaginations can go overdrive. As I said, it's time to start or restart that passion project you've been putting off. And remember, this eclipse is like our personal cheerleader, encouraging us to step outside of our comfort zone and our true potential. It's giving us permission to dream big and take bold steps. So go ahead and be the main character in your own life story, but allow others to be the main character in their life story too. So psychologically, it can stir up the depths of our psyche, our shadow, our inner world, bringing hidden aspects of ourselves to the surface. This energy is all about feeling your feelings, and we can experience, as I said, unconscious patterns and behaviours coming to light. We may experience more vivid dreams or visions or daydreams and sudden intuitive flashes. It's a powerful time for shadow work and inner child healing, and with Mercury in the midst, we're being asked to communicate our feelings and intuitions more clearly, bridge the gap between our logical mind and intuitive wisdom, express our spiritual insights in creative ways. And because of the heightened sensitivity to our environment and others' emotions, there's a need to process deep-seated emotions or past experiences. We can have increased empathy and compassion for ourselves and others. Our boundaries can blur. The lines between our conscious and subconscious mind might feel a bit fuzzy, and this can lead to vivid dreams or daydreams that offer insights into our psyche, our inner workings, a stronger connection between our logical and intuitive sides. But again, the confusion about where we end and others begin can really, get to us, right? Because empathy can be an overload. Just make sure you're giving to people in healthy ways. Don't give more than you can afford to give financially, emotionally, spiritually, and it's a great energy for shadow work, as I said, because it brings the hidden aspects to ourselves to light. It's a chance to confront and integrate parts of ourselves we've been avoiding, and get outside of our comfort zones, heal old wounds and release limiting beliefs, be open and work with your whole self, shadows and all, and it allows us to clear out our mental clutter and make space for personal growth. It's challenging, but it will be worth it, because we can experience a psychological mental glow up right now. In terms of the spiritual, esoteric, hidden meanings, it opens some serious mystical portals. We can have like a divine download. It can be divine download strength. So right now, the North Node's proximity to the moon is like a cosmic USB port connecting us directly to a higher purpose. And for us to really use this energy, we have to stay open to unexpected unexpected insights and guidance, because, Pisces energy is all about merging with the universe. So we might experience a deeper sense of oneness with what is, increasing synchronicities and meaningful coincidences, a stronger connection to our higher self or spiritual guides, our collective consciousness, can just really make us feel connected, to everyone around us. And it's a spiritual leadership activation. As I said, it's about personal discipline. It's calling us to step up and guide others on their spiritual journey. It offers us a karmic cleanse. It's like a, car wash for our soul, reminding us that it's time to release karmic patterns that no longer serve us, align with our true soul's purpose, and to be open and work with the lessons from past lives so we can evolve in this one, So, we're invited to dissolve the illusion of separation between us and other human beings, despite what the outward differences may be, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they express their sexuality, the colour of their skin. It really wants us to tap into that universal oneness. It allows us access to spiritual records like this Karmic records and past life memories. We can channel higher wisdom for the benefit of all. It's a call to commit more deeply to our spiritual practices and an opportunity to step into a leadership role, and it just reminds us to balance spiritual insights with practical action, As I said, it's a good time for rituals or meditations to connect with our higher self and to set the intentions for our spiritual growth. This super new moon solar eclipse is like a spiritual power up, wanting us to and giving us the keys to unlock higher levels of consciousness and connect with the divine. We just have to trust this process and get ready for some serious spiritual leveling up. And remember, this is being handed to us on a plate, but we have to work with this energy, In terms of the karmic meanings, with the North Node hanging nearby in Pisces, this eclipse really serves up some major karmic realness, We're being called to move towards our spiritual or highest potential, Old soul contracts are up for renewal and review right now. It's time to release karmic patterns that no longer serve you, And at the end of this, I'm going to give you some questions that you can ask about the different areas of your life that can make you really focus on the letting go that's needed, right? So in terms of the holistic karmic lessons, it's about surrender and flow. Pisces energy is all about going with the flow. The karmic lesson here is learning to trust the universe and let go of control. It's a time to stop swimming against the current and start flowing with the only certainty in life. As I said, change. It wants us to have more compassion and unity. It's nudging us to see beyond the illusion of separation. It wants us to develop more empathy and recognize the interconnectedness of us, It's like the universe is saying we're all in this together, fam, And as I said, it gives us the chance for spiritual awakening, It wants us to tune into our intuition, our authentic self, and explore our spiritual side, our deeper side, that deeper side that may seek deeper intellectual, philosophical, spiritual, or other knowledge, The eclipse is a cosmic checkpoint asking us, are you living in alignment with your soul's purpose? What spiritual lessons are you ready to graduate from? How can you use your unique gifts to serve humanity? In terms of past life memories and dreams, it can give us some deja vu moments, We can have water related memories, think Atlantis vibes or past lives as a sailor, mermaid or water priestess or anything like that. We can have spiritual religious experiences. We may recall glimpses of being a monk or shaman or spiritual leader or anything like that. past lives where we may have been more artistic and creative and talented in music, poetry or visual arts. So, I really do recommend keeping a dream journal by your bed or under your pillow, as these astrological lunar downloads are pressures and you want to remember them. In terms of the collective karma, we may be more environmentally aware. Pisces rules the ocean, so expect a cosmic wake-up call about water conservation and marine life protection. So, it's time to save the turtles for real, and all the other beautiful water creatures. We can see an increase in spiritual movements, the collective can be craving a connection to something bigger. We can just see more of a creative, artistic renaissance comeback. We can see people placing the emphasis on arts and creative expression as a form of healing and unity, and music and is the one thing that brings us together, and creativity and all of that. So in terms of the Sabian symbol of the officer preparing to drill his men, organise his men, reminds us that there's method to this cosmic madness. We may see him a bit all over the place because of the dreamy Pisces energy, but discipline meets intuition. It reminds us that some structure, some routine is necessary. Even in the spiritual realm, it's about finding the balance between going with the flow and staying focused on our goals. So preparing plans, coming up with strategies. It wants us to prepare for spiritual battle. In a karmic sense, this could represent preparing ourselves for challenges of spiritual growth, and it can be challenging, and so is psychological, emotional and any other growth, right? It wants us to focus on leadership and surface on a collective level. It's calling us to step up, and some leaders may step forward and guide us through these turbulent times with compassion and strength. So now I'm just going to talk about the aspects the sun and the moon are making at the time of this super new moon solar eclipse, right? So the sun and the moon are making a sextile square to Uranus. So this allows us to have sudden bursts of inspiration, supports us with breaking free from old patterns. It gives us unexpected opportunities for growth, but negatively we can feel a bit jittery or restless. It can give us a potential for impulsive decisions. The best use of this energy is to channel it into something new and exciting, but maybe run it by a friend or someone you trust, a mentor, before making any major life changes, or just make sure you take them slow and steady, right? It's all about controlled chaos, right? So that's the only aspects that the sun and the moon make, but Venus is making a conjunction to the moon's north node, and this allows us to align ourselves with our future self. We may meet a new lover, a new friend as well, that's like someone who can give us insight into our future, or or help us make a transition that we're looking to make. So you may find someone that gives you some insight, and you may decide to change your life because of this insight, but negatively we can feel pressure to level up in our relationships, and it reminds us not to ghost our old friends, but sometimes we may have to do that. We may come to the realization that our old friends, our current lifestyle is holding us back. Venus's opposition to the South Node reminds us and supports us in releasing old relationship patterns that no longer serve us. It's serving big bye-bye toxic ex or toxic people energy, but negatively we can just crave our exes and the past connections, and we have to be careful with texting and all of that, because sometimes, well, I believe most of the times the ex is an ex for a reason, for old friends are old friends for a reason. In terms of if you had the fallout, you may think, oh, is this person changed? Of course, go and see if they've changed, but if not, don't invest too much at the beginning. Just go slow with the relationship, but often we can get caught up in the sentimental vibes and rush things, so the best use of this energy is to use it for relationship glow up. Take a good look at your connections, who's lifting you up, who's dragging you down, and who are you lifting up and who are you dragging down, because it's about us as well. You know, we have to get real about our own toxicity, and you know, what kind of love are you putting out into the world? You know, and it's all about aligning our heart with our higher purpose. Think of it as a cosmic Tinder for your soul, and remember, self-love is the best love. And that's not a cliche, I've experienced it so, because a lot of the time when we break up or lose friends, it can hit us hard because we don't have ourselves. We have our sense of self in them. So it's important to create and develop a sense of self, so when life storms come, you can handle them more better, you know. Also, at the time of this super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces, there's a 5-point stellium. It's kind of like the Avengers of the zodiac assembling for the ultimate partial eclipse showdown, right? So the cosmic players are Mercury retrograde in Pisces, bringing the dreamy but potentially confusing energy. Then we've got Venus retrograde in Pisces, serving up some deep feelings and relationship realness. We've got Saturn in Aquarius, that fits detached energy, adding structure and discipline. Neptune in Pisces, sprinkling some extra magic and mystery, and the moon's north node in Pisces, pointing us towards our spiritual destiny, right? So positively, we can be like a psychic sponge, as I said it wants us to, and it allows our intuition, gut feelings to be on fire. It allows us to have some major inspiration. It's time to channel our inner artist, writer, poet, or TikTok star, you know. It allows us to have emotional depth. We can feel all the feels, and that's a good thing. It's a prime time for some serious soul searching. It kind of provides that extra energy so we can really detox our soul, you know, and take that time to let go of the baggage that this super new moon solar eclipse wants us to, right? So the tricky bits with this stellium is that we may feel like we're trying to text underwater. Our communication can be a bit disengaged right now. We can have emotional overload, or this watery energy might have you feeling like you're drowning in feelings. Don't forget to come up for air. It can lead and add to the confusion, right? As things can just feel like a cosmic fog right now. But Saturn's energy wants us to learn the lesson between taking personal responsibility, accountability, versus escaping from our responsibilities, and the responsibility to ourselves to love, nurture and care for ourselves, right? And to forgive and understand ourselves. So Saturn's influence in the stellium helps us to keep grounded at the time of this solar eclipse. So yeah, so how this influence, the stellium you know, merges with the solar eclipse, it's like a hype squad, you know. It's really allowing us to have that structure in our spiritual journey. Neptune on the north node turns up the mystical vibes, making this eclipse feel like a portal to another dimension, and Mercury and Venus in retrograde adds a layer of self-reflection and review to the mix. And it's like the universe is asking us to double check our spiritual homework. So you know what to do with this energy. As I said, write that song, or make that vision board, meditate, you know, go into your emotions, you know, journaling, talking to a friend, or ugly cry or scream if you need to. It's all good, you know, let it all hang out, you know. So sprinkling, let go of what's no longer serving you. It's time to declutter your soul and stay grounded, you know. Remember to eat, sleep and touch grass occasionally, you know. So now I'm just going to talk about the Sabian degrees, or the Sabian energy. We've got a lot of Sabian energy influencing this super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces on the 29th of March, right? So we have the moon and the sun in the 15th degree of Pisces, and this rules the courteous veins in the human body and has the Sabian symbology of an officer preparing to drill his men. Mercury is in the 7th degree of Pisces, and this has the Sabian symbology of a cross lying on rocks and rules the right Thalius in the human body. We've got Venus in the 5th degree of Pisces, and the Sabian symbology is the church bazaar, a like a church festival, a religious festival, you know, and this rules the right kobold born in a human body. And Saturn's in the 30th degree of Aquarius, and this rules the connections in the lower leg in the human body, and has the Sabian symbol. Moon-lit fields, once Babylon, are blooming white. Neptune's in the 6th degree of Pisces and has the Sabian symbol, officers and dress parade, and rules the left kobold bone in the human body. And Uranus is in the 1st degree of Taurus, which rules the full colour of the human body and has the Sabian symbology, a clear mountain stream. And the North Node is in the 3rd degree of Pisces, which rules the nerves of the right foot in the human body and has the Sabian symbology of heavy traffic on a narrow isthmus linking to seaside resorts. So I told you there's a lot, right? There's a lot going on. So this Sabian symbol is giving us major get your shit together vibes. Esoterically, it's all about spiritual discipline, as I said. It motivates us to get organised in our spiritual and day-to-day practices, you know, and it can give us a sense of purpose and direction in life, and it wants us to lead by example, right? It negatively can make us inflexible and controlling, even with our own spiritual journey. So be gentle, yes, disciplined, but remember, being too militant in your approach to spirituality can lead to burnout and you just giving up, right? It wants us to focus on emotionally building a structure in our life to, you know, set emotional boundaries, practice self-discipline in expressing feelings and being open and working through your feelings, and setting time aside for inner and shadow work and connecting with your inner child. It wants us to lead by example in our relationships, be the change you want to see, right? And sometimes it's hard to do that if the other people resist, so sometimes we have to distance ourselves from them, right? Spiritually, it wants us to set a regular spiritual practice, set spiritual goals and work towards them slowly and steadily. Remember, consistency is the key. And it wants us to share our spiritual insights with others. In terms of our physical health, it wants us to focus on our courteous veins, you know, staying hydrated to support good circulation. Try dry brushing to stimulate blood flow. Consider wearing compression socks if you feel that you need to, and if you're on your feet a lot, you know. Psychologically, it wants us to set clear mental goals, supports us in being more mindful in our day-to-day life and more focused in our mindset as we're doing things, you know, and it wants us to develop a routine for our personal growth. So ultimately, the universe is giving us a chance for astrological promotion. It's time to step up and lead our own spiritual parade with that spiritual discipline and leadership, right? And the occult tip is that it is a powerful time for ritual work. So, you know, set up a spiritual drill routine to strengthen your psychic muscles, you know. And Mercury in Pisces, with its Sabian symbology of a cross laying on the rocks, again speaks to faith tested by hardship and challenges and adversity, right? This is what it's about, you know, is standing strong against life challenges. It's giving us what doesn't kill us, makes us stronger energy, you know. It's like our beliefs are getting a cosmic stress test, you know. It's not going to be easy, but it represents the intersection, the meeting, the merging of spirituality and the materiality, you know, the spiritual and material worlds, and it challenges us to maintain our faith, you know. So positively, you know, our communication can become more about spiritual matters. It can be more clear and grounded. So this is supporting us and really giving us good communication energy to overcome the, you know, the toxic communication that can happen. It allows us to express deep truths in simple ways, but negatively it can feel like our beliefs are being tested. We can become too preachy or dogmatic, too rigid, you know. So, you know, again, journaling can really help us. So journal, let out your deepest beliefs and feelings, and think about how to hold up through the tough times. Are they building your resilience, your beliefs? Because often the beliefs that we believe about ourselves are actually, lessening our resilience, right? They take away. So this is why we have to try and bring some positive thoughts. We don't need to get rid of them completely, as I keep saying, but we just need to learn to balance out the negative with the positive. In terms of our emotional health, it supports us with finding strength in our vulnerability, building our emotional resilience, which is necessary for a good life, right? Communicating our struggles openly and, deepening our faith and self-awareness, love and care. It wants us to explore different spiritual practices, find meaning in life's challenges and share our spiritual journey with others. In terms of our physical health, it wants us to pay attention to our right talus, doing ankle strengthening exercises, practicing balance exercises like squats and stuff, being mindful of our footwear choices. In terms of our psychological health, as I said, it wants us to practice positive self-talk, develop coping strategies for stress or any other psychological and emotional health issues, and seek support when needed, or build your ability to support yourself, right? With Venus in Pisces, it represents the blending of spiritual and the material worlds once again, so a lot of energy wanting us to, yes, focus on the material world, paying the bills, working, our careers, socializing and all of that, but also, to pay attention to our spirituality or our deeper thought processes, like you may want to delve into being more intellectual, philosophical, whatever. It allows us to feel more connected to a spiritual or any other community. It brings a sense of abundance, but negatively we can get too caught up in the social aspects of spirituality and spiritual bypass and forget the deeper meaning. There's a risk of materialism creeping into spiritual practices, like, oh, I've got the best crystals, my crystal costs $1,000, well, yours only costs $1 sort of thing, so we need to get real that spirituality is not materialism, right? And emotionally we can feel the need for more connection, so try reaching out to friends or reaching out, getting in tune with all the different aspects of yourself, joining a community group or club and sharing our talents with others. In terms of our spiritual health, this is a time for spiritual exchange, attend a spiritual retreat or workshop, share your spiritual gifts with others, explore different spiritual traditions, focus on your spiritual health and your right cuboid bone, do foot stretches and exercise, try reflexology. In terms of our psychological health, it wants us to be open and work with community psychology, practice empathy and active listening, engage in spiritual activities and share your experiences and learn from others. And remember that your spiritual tribe is waiting there for you, In terms of Saturn in Aquarius and its Sabin symbology of a moonlit fields, once Babylon are blooming white. Again, it brings our focus to the beauty in growth and renewal and finding growth in unexpected places. It opens us up to, on the esoteric level, of the circle nature of civilizations and the potential for rebirth and renewal. And we may just see potential and growth where others see, destruction and stagnation and like, oh no, nothing can ever be right again. It gives us a sense of hope and for new beginnings in our life, but negatively, we can idealize the past too much and we must not do that, forward ever, backwards never. There's a risk of not appreciating what we have now. In terms of our emotional health, we may feel a sense of emotional renewal, should be open and work with it by letting go of old baggage, especially emotional and psychological and spiritual baggage, find the beauty in past challenges and, past life experiences, and cultivate, develop, build emotional resilience. In terms of our spiritual health, it's a perfect energy to use for spiritual rebirth, revisit old spiritual spiritual practices with fresh eyes. Some of you may find wisdom in ancient traditions. Others may embrace the spiritual growth that can be had from past experiences. In terms of your physical health, pay attention to the connections in your lower legs. Do leg strengthening exercise, practice good posture, consider a massage or give yourself one, or stretch to improve circulation. Psychologically, it reminds us that this is a time for mental reframing. Look for the silver linings in past difficulties. Practice gratitude for the growth that can be had. Be open and work with change and transformation. Neptune is in the symbology days, officers and dress parade, so it wants us to present our best self, and it wants us to suit up for success, not actually wearing a suit, but kind of putting your best foot forward, as to say. Our higher self is standing at attention. Esoterically, it represents the spiritual practices, the mindfulness practices needed for discipline and structure and meeting our goals. Positively, we can find ways to bring order into our spiritual life. There can be a sense of pride in our personal growth, but negatively, we can become too rigid, inflexible in our spiritual practices. There's a risk of spiritual ego or superiority. In terms of our emotional health, we may feel a need to present a polished emotional front, so we have to try and practice emotional intelligence, develop healthy coping mechanisms, and lead by example in emotional maturity, and just seek out tools and stuff that can help you build it. This is not about I gotta do it now, it's about how can I build these things into my life and making a plan to do so. In terms of our spiritual health, it wants us to align our actions, our day-to-day actions and beliefs with our spiritual beliefs, and share our spiritual insights with others. Physically, a lot of this energy is, the feet, because Pisces rules the feet, are grounded, and so again, doing foot exercises to improve flexibility. It reminds us to be mindful of our footwear choices once again. Consider orthodontics if you have foot pain. Psychologically, it's time to pervade your best mental self, not by bypassing or nothing like that, but practice positive self-talk daily, set and work towards your personal goals and develop a growth mindset. And it just reminds us once again to find a balance between discipline and flow in our spiritual life, and it's okay to march to our own cosmic drum. This is what Pisces energy is all about, stepping into our authentic self, stepping into the unknown, revealing our secrets to ourselves, getting real about our self-destructive habits and secret enemies, 12th house energy, right? So the things in our life that are actually draining us. This can be friendships, relationships, and as I said, our own thoughts, Uranus in Taurus, with its imagery of a clear mountain stream, gives us that energy for purity and natural wisdom, can help us with our spiritual detox. It represents the flow of pure, uncontaminated spiritual wisdom. Positively, we can feel more connected to nature and its wisdom. It brings a sense of clarity and purity in thoughts. We can feel overwhelmed by the rapid flow of insights. There's a risk of becoming too detached from the material world. In terms of our emotional health, we may feel a need for emotional clarity. We have to try and practice emotional honesty, cleansing toxic relationships and finding peace in nature. In terms of our spiritual health, this is a time for spiritual purification, and it helps us with our meditation and mindfulness and connecting with nature on a spiritual level and seeking clarity from that inner and shadow work, and sticking to or finding a spiritual path. In terms of physical health, it wants us to pay attention to our throat and gullet health, reminds us to stay hydrated, practice neck stretches, consider singing or humming for throat health. And it doesn't matter if you can't sing, I do it all the time. I can't sing, but I believe singing is a great healer in terms of our psychological health. It helps us to, be grounded in practical reality and pushes us to connect with nature, to refresh our mind, going outdoors. And if you can't go outdoors, listen to nature sounds and watch nature sounds online, The North Node in Pisces, with its imagery of a heavy traffic flow and a narrow isthmus, like a narrow road linking to seaside resorts, wants us and points to us of the fact again life challenges will always come. This symbol is all about navigating life's congested areas, our psychological, emotional and spiritual blockages and wounds, unprocessed trauma, unmanaged trauma, Esoterically, it represents the journey of the soul through life's challenges towards spiritual fulfillment, happiness, balance, completeness, Positively, once again, it wants us to learn to go with the flow, even in challenging times. It can bring a sense of purpose to our spiritual journey. Negatively, we can feel stuck or frustrated with the slow progress. There can be a risk of losing sight of the bigger picture. In terms of our emotional health, we may feel pulled in different directions to try practicing emotional balance, finding calm in the middle of chaos and trusting our intuition to guide us. In terms of our spiritual health, it reminds us to trust in our spiritual journey, embrace the flow of life, finding spiritual lessons in our daily changes, always looking at the bright side, asking ourselves what we can learn from this, not, oh my goodness, this is bad, I'm never going to get over this. In terms of our physical health, because it rules the nerves of the right foot, it reminds us once again to try grounding exercises, and reflexology could help as well. Psychologically, it wants us to develop stress management techniques and psychological, spiritual and emotional health management techniques, and to practice patience, self-compassion, love, forgiveness, and letting go of shame and guilt over time, and focus on, and it reminds us to focus on our goals in the middle of the chaos and daily challenges, because they will always come, and it wants us to keep our eyes on the spiritual destination, but don't forget the journey. And this is what we do sometimes. We get so focused on the journey and forget to enjoy the steps that take us there. So this super new moon eclipse is reminding us to flow. Pisces energy is all about flow, thinking about what we can do, not what we can't do, and getting real about what it takes to build the life we want. So now I'm just going to finish up with some questions you can ask yourself at the time of this super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces, that can just help you focus on the different areas of your life, So in terms of financially, ask yourself, am I aligning my money moves with my soul purpose? How can I be more creative in generating income? What financial fears am I ready to release? In terms of our emotions, you can ask yourself, what emotions am I avoiding and why? How can I show more compassion to myself and others? What boundaries do I need to set to protect my emotional well-being? Who's draining your energy? What things do you do day to day? What's draining your own energy? In terms of your spiritual development, you can ask yourself, what does my soul truly crave right now? How can I deepen my connection to the universe? What spiritual practices am I curious about exploring? In terms of psychological insights, what reoccurring patterns in my life am I ready to break? How can I be more authentic in my daily life? What parts of myself am I ready to integrate and accept, and this is about getting real about your weaknesses and strengths, and allowing yourself to become more centered, and being more gentle with yourself as you do this. Asking yourself, what patterns, what day-to-day habits are holding you back, and what would my life look like if I prioritize my own needs? In terms of your physical wellness, you can ask yourself, how can I honor my body more? What new physical activities am I curious about trying? How can I make self-care a daily priority, And it inspires us to start a new routine, whether it's a sleep routine, workout, eating routine, or finally booking that massage, that you've been putting off. So the Sabian symbology of an officer preparing to do these men is all about discipline and preparation. So to live up to what this energy wants us to do, we can ask ourselves, where in my life do I need more structure and discipline? How can I better prepare myself for future challenges? And what skills do I need to develop to achieve my goals, And just imagine you're the CEO of your life, because you are. And ask yourself, how would you drill yourself to be ready for the opportunities and challenges ahead, If you were to take ownership and become the main character of your life in a healthy way that respects that other people are the main characters of their own lives as well. So, to sum up, this super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces isn't just about personal enlightenment. It's all about dissolving boundaries and recognizing our interconnectedness as we level up spiritually, We're contributing not only to our own evolution, but to, the evolution of the collective consciousness. So as I said, we can awaken collectively to higher levels of consciousness during this super new moon solar eclipse in Pisces. There can be growing awareness of our interconnectedness. We can have more compassion and empathy as we feel more valued in society. We may feel called to participate in group meditations or healing circles, get involved in community service or spiritual activism, share our spiritual insights and experiences with others. So as we ride these intense Piscean waves, remember, you're not just growing, you're expanding. This is your chance to merge with the divine, heal on a soul level, and step into your role as a spiritual beacon for others. Trust the flow, be open, and work with the mystery, and get ready to experience the magic of the universe in ways you never thought possible. And remember to make the most of this powerful eclipse. Try setting intentions for your spiritual growth, create a new spiritual practice or ritual, do a meditation or visualization to connect with your higher self, journal about your dreams, intuition and spiritual insights, practice energy healing, or receiving a healing session may be good. It's time to level up your consciousness and reach for your highest potential. And your spiritual astro mantra right now can be, I'm open to divine guidance and ready to be open and work with my spiritual destiny or my highest potential, And remember, this super new moon solar eclipse on the 29th of March is your VIP ticket to a spiritual glow up. Be open and work with the Piscean vibes, trust your intuition, and get ready to swim the cosmic ocean of infinite possibilities.